All right, hello everyone. My name is Christopher Likens. Pleasure to be seen by everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. This is my in-flight emergency presentation, and I hope you enjoy. So first of all, the thing to do and to remember in every emergency is going to be to stay calm, especially in the air. Staying calm, as well as on the ground, is going to help and ensure whatever's happening happens and ends as safe as possible. Uh, in an airplane, you'll want to maintain control of your aircraft, uh, pitching, for the right airspeed, not freaking out essentially and losing control of the mechanics of the airplane. And thirdly, overall, you'll want to identify what the issue is, therefore, being able to fix it. Okay. We're going to be going over in-flight fire and some of the overall priorities or things that you want to make sure that you're looking for or doing. Uh, Firstly, again, fly the airplane. You are the last thing controlling that airplane from not going to the ground. You'll want to obviously limit the fire, the spread of the fire, whether it's an engine fire or electrical fire. You'll want you want it to stop. You want to minimize smoke. That inhalation will it's really bad for you, and in the end will cause you to be dizzy, nauseous, and even pass out. And a plane that's in an emergency needs a pilot. And fourthly, you'll want to get the plane on the ground as safely and as fast as possible. All right, so the steps you'll want to take when seeing, the fire are going to be firstly mixture. You're going to want to idle cut off, which essentially is cutting off the fuel to the cutting off the fuel to the carburetor, thus like draining the fuel for the fire or what is possibly an engine fire. Next, you'll want to select off or in the middle tab for the fuel selector. This is also going to be a second step in taking away a fuel source for a engine fire. Nextly, you want to turn off the master switch. Now this it's going to happen whether it's a electrical fire or engine fire, but this also helps mitigate it being an electrical fire and turning off those currents that are running through that. And the next, cabin heat and air. Now this is to reduce the flow of oxygen that is feeding the fire, but you're going to want to leave the two air vents above you still flowing, and that's your source of oxygen in case the cockpit is filled with smoke and smoke inhalation and you pass out and get nauseous. We don't want that. Next, you're going to want to control your airspeed. As you're going down, or as a emergency is taking place, that might be something, especially if it hasn't happened to you before, that you don't really think about. Hopefully you do, but when emergencies arise, it's easier to get distracted and not do what you're supposed to do. Now, more steps here. Excuse me. Now you'll want to see if the fire has gone out, whether the smoke is gone, physical flames are not there anymore, or if it's an electrical fire, the smoke has also ceased and there are no flames. And then at that point, what you'll have is an engine out emergency if the fire has gone out. And your next step from there will be your ABCs. Now your ABCs are firstly airspeed. Now this is to make sure you're pitched for the correct airspeed if you're coming down for an emergency landing, essentially. This obviously, your engine's out, your pitch is going to be controlling that airspeed. B is best field. You want to identify the best location for you to make an emergency landing. Preferably, it'll be headwind and in a clear field with hopefully no wires are poking up there, no transformers are nearby. And thirdly, cockpit checks. Now this is just going through your checklist to make sure and identify, if you haven't already, what has gone wrong. Did the fire go out when you turned off the master switch? Did it go out when you idled the throttle and the mixture? The things that you'll just want to know. Now, the checklist, obviously, if you're going down too fast, you're not always going to have time to do your checklist, but this should be done afterwards, if not before. Play this little fire video for you guys. Now, if the fire is not out, you're going to want to turn everything, well, everything's already turned off. You're going to want to get to the ground as fast as possible, because everything you've done so far that hopefully should have put out the fire is not happening. And so worst case scenario is that this is an engine fire that's burning too hot, has maybe too much fuel in it, too much fuel for the fire. And then you'll want to pitch for about 100 knots. This is to get you on the ground fast and safe, but also could be used to put out that engine fire. It might not though, but it is there to help put out that fire. All right. And then again, you want to go through the checklist to identify what has happened. I mean, at that point, it's going to most likely be an engine fire, but still, you want to make sure that recheck that your throttle is idled, your mixture's completely leaned, and your master switch is off, and avionics even off too. Well, that would be off with the master switch. And just double checking that you've done everything right so far. And then from there, you'll want to execute a forced landing, going back to the ABCs that we had just talked about. And then this is the conclusion. Essentially, no one wants to be put in this position, but you need to know what to do if you are put in it. Hopefully regular maintenance on your aircraft, and it does take wear and tear, but hopefully regular maintenance on it can mitigate any issues other than maybe some avionics going out, which is the usual scenario. But as long as we learn and do the best when it happens, go through the checklist, do your ABCs, hopefully we'll all be okay. All right, I hope I was able to inform you at all on an in-flight fire and what to do. I know I've learned a lot with this, and I've actually gone over it with my instructor. So I'll be happy to see what you guys think. All right, well, until next time, guys, Chris Likens here, signing off. All right, bye-bye.